Two, one. Okay, we are here with Mia Rose. Mia, I want to welcome you to the Hill of Roses. It's a pleasure to be able to have you on.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah, Mia, I really wanted to have this conversation with you today for a variety of factors. Obviously we got to connect because you were also a member of the Yang Gang. But before, talking about the Yang Gang, one of the big things I wanted to talk to you about is, you work as an adult entertainer, and I'd love to talk about some issues that kind of surround that area, particularly sex work, as well as, just how women can be economically empowered. And I wanted to hear from you, how do you view the current status of, sex work in general? Do you feel like society is, gradually accepting it more? Do you feel like it still has taboos? Like, how do you
I
feel
don't
about
think
the general
that
state
sex
of it?
work will ever be accepted. It's just the way that people are brought up. And I guess I get it. It's not morally right in most people's books. But I mean if you are comfortable with it, I don't feel like it should be degrading, and it hasn't ever been for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't personally see the reason why it should be negatively viewed. Like, how have you tried to broach that conversation with others? Like, I assume like you have a mostly like tolerant friend group who loves this idea, but like how have you been trying to interact with people in regards to that? Do you feel like it's something you can kind of proudly state this is what you're doing, or how do you feel about
Absolutely is. Yeah, I've been very open about what I do ever since the day I started. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of flack, a lot of hate from certain people. Um, like on Twitch, there was a ton of hate for what I used to do, and had retired and became a gamer in 2011, and I came back to adult like in December of last year. Um, People were
so?
just really hateful. They were just really, really hateful all the time.
Was there any particular reasons they were acting so cruelly beyond, like, in my perception, it definitely roots in misogyny to some level. Was there any reasons you felt like they were acting this way other than just the internet being the main method of communication?
That's a fucked up thing, right?
Yeah.
The internet is the way they can hide behind their screens and they can say what they want to without having any repercussions. So that's what they do, and you have to have really thick skin if you're going to get on social media because they will just rip you apart.
Yeah, and I'd love to just, pry a little bit further. You said you had left it at one point and then came back to it. What inspired both of those transitions?
Um, It was actually just a money move, as far as, like, I wasn't doing as many movies, so I was playing video games a lot, and I figured might as well make money from it since I'm doing it anyways, and I did that for many years, and I just got really burnt out, and, yeah, really burnt out, and then I decided to come back because adult is always gonna be there, and it's always gonna and I don't have forever in it, right? You have a shelf life, everyone does. So, yeah. OnlyFans was like the biggest thing. It was like Twitch in 2011. OnlyFans is like the new Twitch.
Yeah, I'd love to ask a little bit about that. Like, I think a lot of these mediums are trying to make it so that you can kind of be like direct to consumer. But there's been like certain regulations that have happened, like Sesta Fosta, that has made, sex work a little bit more difficult online. Do you feel like it's a protected, safe environment that like helps the women who are participating? Do you think OnlyFans does a good job with the workers they have?
As far as I know, I mean they've done good by my book. I can't speak for anybody else because I don't know what their interactions have been like. But me personally, I really enjoy how OnlyFans works. I'm in charge of everything. I own all my content. I can make money off my content for as long as I'm on their site. Like they take a pretty fair amount, and they're really helpful if you need them. I love the site.
So I have to ask, I think it was around a little less than a month ago, there was this big controversy surrounding OnlyFans with Bella Thorne, who had, registered for the platform. I wanted to hear, what your opinion is about, like, this was previously not like super commercialized where you had superstars, particularly on the platform. Like, how do you feel that incident played out? Do you think it was mainly Bella's fault? Do you think
No,
OnlyFans
mm,
overreacted?
I feel like no, they didn't overreact. It was a lot of incoming money, and she scammed people. At first, I was like, "Why you guys gonna hate on her?" It's like anyone's free to use this site. It doesn't matter if they're a celebrity or not. So you can't hate on someone else for making money. Like, it just happened to be $2 million. Um, but the part that's gets a little screwy is where she promises one thing, promises nudes, promises these things to people, sells them for $200 each, and then doesn't provide what she's selling, and people get chargebacks. And therefore, OnlyFans was they got so many chargebacks that they had to do something, because I mean that's just it's a lot of money to come and go. So I mean I really do not like that woman. I don't know her, and I don't want to know her. I don't want to know that type of person. And she gave OnlyFans like a really bad name, and now we have lower amounts of money people can tip us because of her. It's like, well, I'm really glad you got your 2 million, lady, but we're
Yeah.
actually working here, and now I get way less tips, and I've seen the impact of what she did already this month.
Yeah, I think this also kind of gets back to this at the end of the day for a lot of people, like you admitted earlier, it's a money move for them. And so for someone who did not need this money to come in and scam people and cause everyone else to lose their bottom line is really reprehensible. I'd love to just, ask in your opinion, like, do you think that if we had, some baseline economic security in place, a lot of people would continue to try and like be able to work in this industry? For example, I know, as I alluded to earlier, you're a supporter of Andrew Yang, probably because there's some aspects to the universal basic income being able to help people like yourselves and others. Do you think a lot of women would continue working in that field? Or like, what proportion do you think is just there solely because it makes money and it can pay their bills?
I'm sorry, my sister was being extremely loud, and I didn't catch that last part. What was that?
Yeah,
I'm
no
sorry.
problem. Let me repeat that. I wanted to ask you, if there was something like a universal basic income in place,
Oh,
do you think, like, what proportion of women do you think would not be working in sex work? Do you have like a general
I
anecdotal
don't
feel about
actually know the answer to that, but I do know that $1,000 a month would help literally everyone, and not just a generalized like group. I feel like it will help women, it will help men, it'll help everybody.
I 100% agree with you. I'm a big universal basic income advocate. And I'd love to just talk to you about, like, the second part of which I described beforehand of this topic is women's empowerment. Obviously, there's a lot of flexibility in being able to do this work. And now with these platforms like OnlyFans, you can kind of set your own terms of working. You know, what do you think is that role of female empowerment in terms of sex work? Because I think, the argument that a lot of people who say that they're against sex work is that it destroys these like institutions like marriage and
Hmm.
this very monogamous type culture. Do you feel like sex work is an empowering field for women?
I mean, for some people it can be, yeah. I don't feel like it's any. I don't feel like it's degrading. I don't know if I would say it's empowering. I used to feel that, but now I see how much hate there is from it, and it really just kind of sucks the life out of you for a while. So I don't know. I don't know if it's empowering, but it definitely feels good to be able to make your own hours, to set your own rules, what you do, what you don't feel comfortable doing. What I don't do anything on my OnlyFans that I don't do at home. I don't do anything that's crazy. If I'm not comfortable with it, I'm not going to do it.
I think
So,
that's very true. You get a lot of choice in the certain lines you're going to set. It's not like someone's dictating work to you. You get to kind of set your own terms.
although I do know, I do know some people that definitely go outside, but that's like it's a rush for them sometimes. So I mean, can't knock it till you try it, I guess.
Yeah. I'd love to just kind of go a level deeper, like in terms of the actual help for that community. I think I've had this debate on the program previously between, trying to legalize sex work beyond stuff like OnlyFans, which kind of falls into pornography, and decriminalizing versus keeping illegal. Do you have any opinions on that? Obviously, you're an entertainer. You're not doing anything illegal. Do you have
No, but
anything?
people
Yeah.
have a lot of stigma towards adult entertainment workers. They believe that like porn is why there's pedophiles. It's like that's not even the case, like at all. I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein. He was a completely normal guy. Nowhere and that was some really serious stuff. Um, I've never actually seen anything legal in adult ever. Not once in my entire career.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing I'd love to ask in this section, before we come back in our second section and talk more about like the Yang Gang and how you came to that, I'd love to hear, in your opinion, do you think there's any regulation that needs to be happening with the porn industry at all? Because I think this is something where, anecdotally, I certainly know you're having people that are under 18 constantly still use the site despite acknowledging that they're 18. Do you think there's anything that
Is
needs
there?
to be
Is
done?
it, I haven't seen that. I mean, wow.
I can tell you, at least I know that for a fact.
I mean,
But
well, they're not supposed to, so they have to be using fake IDs or something because you can't, and that's on them at that point. The kids doing, God, that's so gross to say.
yeah, but
Um,
do you think there's any regulation in general? Let's go beyond the example I was just trying to paint there. Do you think there's anything that the government should be doing in regards to this industry?
um, no, I think they've already done enough damage as it is. It's pretty funny how adult entertainers have been getting tested like every 2-3 weeks for years and years and years, and they are freaking out over like COVID tests. It's so hilarious. I mean, we pay our taxes, we work like other people. I mean, I don't see why they do put all the limits on us that they do when we're exactly like your family, just happen to be a little bit more open sexually.
Yeah, and you know what? It is work at the end of the day. I
Hmm.
don't always love the job that I'm doing, and I don't think we love it all the time in any industry. But I think that's a great place to take a break here. In the second part, as I said before, we're going to talk about what kind of drove you into the Andrew Yang campaign during the 2020 cycle, and what do you think needs to be happening for the movement, and what needs to hopefully be happening this fall. So we'll take a quick break. Join us in part two. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of The Hill of Roses. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please let us know by subscribing to our channel, liking today's video, and sharing the video with your friends. Also, if you want to be notified, please make sure you hit the bell when you subscribe. Finally, if you want to find more of our network's content, please go to thehillofroses.com. With that being said, we love y'all for helping the movement grow, and we hope you're staying rosy out there.